As anticipated, chaos marred the Israel versus France football game, the UEFA Nations League match that was held in Paris. The game unfolded under very tense circumstances. It came just days after Israeli fans were attacked in Amsterdam. So Paris was bracing itself for something similar, and France went all out with the security arrangements.
Clearly, what we learned from Amsterdam is that we must be present in the public space, including farther deep as well as very far from the stadium, and guarantee optimal protection of all spectators, particularly on their route back to their homes or their places of accommodation. These are the measures asked of me by the Interior Minister.
Some 4,000 officers were deployed ahead of the match. Elite tactical units were mobilized and armored vehicles were stationed at the venue. Here's a look. Why don't you take a look at the scenes that played out outside the stadium? Police officials, of course, steaming the entire area there. The match had, unsurprisingly, significantly very low turnout due to, of course, these security fears. Only a little over 16,000 fans turned up to watch this clash, which meant a lot of the 80,000 capacity stadium had a sea of empty seats. But despite the security threats, Israeli fans braced themselves and turned up to cheer their team on.
Honestly, I think it's sad to see that we have such a large security presence for a simple football match, because sport is made to unite. We've always had laughter and tears only through sport. Sport is not supposed to be conflictual. Then I am still happy to see that there are 20,000 people present. It's a few compared to what the Stade de France stadium can accommodate, but despite everything, these are still 20,000 people. 20,000 people who came. 20,000 people who were not discouraged. And certainly 20,000 people who are not afraid either. And that's what we must remember from this match.
Around 100 of these Israeli fans huddled together in a small corner of the Stade de France. It was the lowest attendance at the stadium for a national game. Israel's national anthem, of course, rang out just before the start of the game, but it was met with a chorus of boos and whistles from the whole French crowd. And all of this unfolded in the presence of French President Emmanuel Macron, who made it to that matchup. In fact, just 10 minutes into the game, scuffles broke out in the stands. Security personnel, of course, had to intervene to separate the opposing groups. In fact, the latest is that 40 of the warring fans were arrested by the French police. But despite all this, the match remained largely unaffected. The game continued despite the charged-up atmosphere and sadly ended in a goalless draw. In the moments that followed, images of Israeli fans being jeered by the French crowd circulated widely on social media. These events, of course, of the night were made more than just football. It showed the divisions in the French society, especially over the conflict.
When Russia went to war against Ukraine, they were banned from all sports. Despite the genocide, the fact that they kill women, children, men can be victims too, Israel is allowed to play a match. We are told sports and politics should be separate. Well, no. If we give them that right, then we are complicit in their murder.
Football is not politics. Okay, the president is here and maybe he has some political reason, but today we're not here for politics. Again, football is something that unites people all over the country, all over the world, and that's important. And it must be something just friendly.
So football, much like many other sporting disciplines, has become quite the mirror of the geopolitical tensions. While Macron's message on fighting anti-Semitism was important, it fell on deaf ears. The events at Stade de France are not a one-off. Israeli fans have been at the receiving end lately, and it shows you just how the lines between sports and politics has increasingly gotten more blurred. The incident in Paris and the one in Amsterdam has made one thing clear: sports will forever remain a battleground for larger ideological conflicts. And future matches, particularly involving Israel, will carry out the same political overtures.